So now we're going back to our regular file, right? If you don't have one, or it's a good idea to download a fresh copy, so you have exactly what I have, okay? And go to your turn 7 and run up to here, okay? Run, so go to cell and run all above. Okay, so run up to question number 7, which is group by and mean and all that. So we are all at the same point. Question number 7 is done. Then we have side by side bar chart. So again, you're going to have side by side or stacked. There are two variations of multiple columns to plot. Okay, so you can either do it side by side or you can stack them up. Okay, so in either case, okay, you're going to have data already summarized, like in the medals case. Okay, how many medals are already summarized, or the tips data where it is not summarized, it's raw data. So if it is already summarized, it's pretty straightforward. You just plot and that's it. Okay, so it's going to take, so I'm plotting all the medals, so it's going to plot all the columns in the medals, so which is like there are 3 columns, gold, silver and bronze. So it creates, and the H here makes it horizontal. If you leave the H out, then it will be vertical. Okay, and then it adds a legend automatically. So it says blue is gold, orange is silver, and green is bronze. And you can change the color code, and I'm not going to get into that. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and you can also place the legend anywhere you want. So if you don't say anything, then it's going to put the legend at the best possible place. Now, stacked bar is you just say stacked equal to true, then it's going to stack it up. Okay, and then if you stack it up, then your value labels will come from container 0 for the first stack, 1 for the second stack, and 3 for the third stack, and it will be cumulative. Okay, and you can also do this. What I did here, you can do it this way too. Okay. All right. So now, in your turn, I'm going to show you how to do this when you don't have summarized data. So we're going to do this with tips data. Okay. So create a well format. I'm not going to format. I'll let you format because we have done all the formatting, right? So side by side chart for number of diners by time column. Okay. All right. So let's see. So let's call it T counts. Okay. Well, now what we need is, okay, you can do this by group by. Okay, you know, when you do group by 2 different categorical columns, and it becomes a little complex. So instead, Python has 2 functions. Okay, one is called crosstabs, or pandas, I should say pandas. Pandas has crosstab, right? Crosstab, and then you give the 2. So we want tips df day and tips df time. Well, and then we do T counts. Then we have the, okay, the 2. So that's T count, and then then you can promote. You can do the same thing like what we did previously. Add a new column. Okay, so this is the data frame. Add a new column for code. So actually, we can do, since we have this as a I'm going to have to. So we did it here, right? Okay. So let me copy paste this sort W day, okay, over here. Okay. Now if I use the sort W day with T counts, T counts will get sorted by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And then I can plot it. So the same side by side. Okay, so I'm going to copy paste that here. All right, and it's not now it's T counts, right? All right. But if I take the H out, then it will be like this. Is that okay? So this is one way of doing it. Cross tabs. Cross tabs will, you give the row variable, you give the column variable, and it will count how many are there in each of those cases. So that is one way of doing it. Okay. Another way of doing it. Okay. So before we get to B, let's look at another way. So I'm adding two new cells. So pandas pivot table. Okay, you've done pivot table in Excel, right? Okay, so you get about the same here with pandas. So pivot table, you have to give the rows, and the rows in pandas pivot table are called index. So you say index equal to whatever variable that you give, they will be the rows. And then columns equal to, give another variable, they will be columns. Okay. Now what pivot table does is that it doesn't simply, you can do more than just count. Cross tabs will only count how many are there in each of those intersections. But what pivot table will do is you can specify a third parameter called values. Okay. And you say values equal to tips, and I want the mean of that. So for each intersection, it will group the tips for that intersection and find the mean, or find the median, or find whatever statistic that you want. So pivot table is much more powerful. Okay, so here, so PD dot pivot table. Okay, so first you give the name of the, so you can, well, let me do it this way. So data equal to tips underscore df. Okay, so that's what the data is going to come from. Okay, and then say index equal to day, columns equal to, say, time, okay, and Now, if you want just the count, okay, if you don't say anything, okay, Pandas pivot table will try to compute the mean. Okay, and then if it cannot compute the mean, then it'll tell you, okay, there is a problem with this. Okay, so you can, if it is something else, then you have to specify AGG FUN. That is the aggregating function. What kind of aggregating function you want to use? And default is mean. Okay, so if it can't find the mean, it's going to. So you say count, and it still gives you an error. Func. Aggregate func, not few fun. Func. Okay, so it just gives it to you for all the columns. Okay, so all the other columns like day and time. Okay, all the other columns are listed here. And if you want for any particular one, okay, it's actually the same thing because you're counting how many there are, and it's going to be the same for all the columns. So you can just simply say whatever column that we want here. You say, okay, I want it for size. So then it will give you only for size. Okay, and then you can plot it. Okay, the difference is that okay, so the 0, 0, you see 0, 0 comes in as NaN here. Okay. Now I can save this into a data frame and then use the user-defined function to sort the index in Thursday, in the weekday order. Okay, so I'll leave it like that. But this method of pivot table method, okay, is more powerful because we can also do other things with it. Okay, so suppose we want the mean. Mean is, of course, you don't have to specify mean. So if you say values equal to size, right, or tips, or is it tip? It's tip, right? Okay, and if I don't say anything, it's going to give me the average tip. If I say AGG func is median, so it's going to give me the median and so on. So you can use the Pandas pivot table, okay, which is much more powerful. You can get all kinds of statistics and then plot this. Okay, once again, if you want to sort this by weekday, you use the user-defined function, sort it, and then plot it. Okay. So now what is B here? Create well-formatted stacked bar. Okay, so stacked bar will be, I just have to say stacked, that's it. So here is this is for number of diners by the time, but from the stack bar chart for number of diners by the time column. Well, time and day, I suppose. Okay. So this should be what is this one? T counts. Is it T counts? Okay. So we have the stack bar here. Okay. So same thing except that you add stacked equal to true. So instead of side by side, then it will become stacked.